So we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah by Hashem Yahushua this day. And we'll look at John chapter 5, verse 39. See what it is. Try to be as brief as possible. Old trumpets be up on before you know it. The end of the year. The end of the year. We come towards the end of the year. And it says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. So let's look at something in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and also get Romans chapter 5, before we look at Genesis the 3rd chapter. 1 Corinthians 15, 44. 1 Corinthians 15 and 44. Now also remember this here, right? Hold on. Hello? Hello? What's happening? Also remember this here, that Adam's name means mankind. And that would make a lot of sense when we always keep saying the son of man, the son of man, the son of Adam. So keep that in mind as it pertains to the master speaking those words. Just keep that in mind. It is sown a natural body. It is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living nephash, and the last Adam was made a quickening ruach. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterwards that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy, and the second man is the master from Shamayim. So just keep that in mind when we sit back and we look at first Adam, second Adam, all of these things. Matter of fact, before we go any further, let's look at Luke chapter 3, about verse 35, about why that is important. And then John chapter 1 and about verse 14 before we look at Romans chapter 5. Luke chapter 3 about verse 35. Which was the son of Sirach, which is the son of Ragu, which is the son of Phalach, which is the son of Eber, which is the son of Salah, which is the son of Canaan, which is the son of Arphaxad, which is the son of Shem, which is the son of Noah, which was the son of Lamech, which was the son of Methuselah, which is the son of Enoch, which was the son of Jared. Hello?
Yeah, that's John.
What's going on? Which was the son of Malil, which is the son of Canaan, which was the son of Enos, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of Elohim. So Adam is called the son of Elohim. Now we know John chapter 1 say in the beginning with the word. I'm going to have to work it like this before we read John chapter 1 verse 14. I want you to look at Colossians chapter 1 and about verse 18. Adam is called the son of Elohim. Yahushua is called the second Adam. Therefore making him the son of Elohim. Because this is what this book just said. Now we're going to go look in the law and see if Adam is the son of Elohim, meaning Elohim created him. But we're going to have to see who created him. Colossians chapter 1, about verse 18. It might be 15. My book. I got to use my other book. Make it 16. But we'll look at 15 though. Now this is talking about the master right here in verse 15, who is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of every creature. Now we know Genesis 1 and 26 say, let us make man in our image, and that Adam is the firstborn of every creature. I think I was talking to, no, this was somebody else. Dude called me the other day, right, and he was like, where did Cain get his wife from? The book don't say where Cain got his wife from. Anybody that says anything to it would be purely speculating. Because if Yahuwah wanted you to know where Cain got his wife from, he would have told you. Do you know what I'm saying? He didn't tell it, therefore it ain't my place to speak on it. I also told the young man that asked me this, I'm like, a lot of brothers will sit back and look at that and say, well, why won't he tell us where he get his wife from? You know what I'm saying? What kind of God don't want us to know what's going on? And it'd be like, you really looking for an excuse to actually not believe. Because whether you knew where Cain got his wife from or not, what difference does that have to do with your salvation? Why that? So if you knew that, you would believe on Yahuwah harder? They say, well, it must have been people before Adam. Well, if it was people before Adam, then the book lied when it says that Yahusha is the firstborn of every creature. Because when we look at Adam, he is the firstborn of every creature. And we go look at Genesis chapter 2, there was nothing there but Adam. He made man, then he made the beasts and all of this thing. He's the firstborn of every creature. Before he made anything, he made Yahusha. So Adam has to follow that same template. It's the same reason why Yahusha, the firstborn of all from the dead, because he got to follow that same template. If you don't follow that same template, then we got to cast the whole book away. If the book say Adam, the firstborn of every creature, then we can't sit back and say, oh, there was some stuff going on and he destroyed the earth and then he made Adam after that. Because then he wouldn't be the firstborn of every creature then. Now I'm going to let y'all know something. There's a white man, I can't remember his name, but his name of his organization, I think, is Shepherd's Chapel, that they teach that there's people before Adam. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sit and tell you, man, I can't tell you where Cain got his wife from. The book don't tell me where he got his wife from. Anything that I say after that is my opinion. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? I do not have 2 or 3 witnesses out the Torah and the Tanakh to back up where this man got his wife from. At all. You know what I'm saying? And I have no shame telling you that. You know what I'm saying? People tell how they want to take it. It don't tell you. And if you say anything otherwise, that's just your mouth talking. Verse 16. For by him were all things created that are in Shamahim and that are in the Arats, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. So let's look at John 1:1. So that means mankind was created for him. That's the same way when you look at when the book say, you know, the Shabbat was made for man, not man for the Shabbat. Knowing that Shabbat is rest and knowing that that's made, referring to the resurrection, that the Shabbat was pointing to the master dying and resurrecting from the dead. That wasn't made for man. That was made for man. You weren't made for that. Why do you think he made that before he made the man? Before he pulled Adam up out the ground, he sanctified that. But we'll deal with that another day. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. The same was in the beginning with Elohim, and all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So there was nothing made without the master. Because this is not referring to, it's referring to the master. This is the same token when you see him breathing in Adam, and you turn around and you see Yahusha breathing on his disciples in John chapter 20, showing forth how Elohim is blowing into Adam or into mankind to give him life. Do you know what I'm saying? And let's look at the verse 14 of this very same chapter. Then we go look in Genesis chapter 2. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his esteem, the esteem as of the only begotten of the Father, full of favor and truth. Now Yahusha is called the only begotten of the Father, which would make him the son of Elohim. I'll read it in a moment. Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the Arats, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahuwah Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the Arats, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the Arats, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Hello? Hello?
Yo.
What's going on? So when we look at man being a living soul, we see that said Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim created him. Well, John chapter 1 and Colossians have just manifested that was Yahusha who just made Adam. And if Yahusha is Elohim, as the book has stated, then he would be the son of Elohim. Because that's who created him. Elohim created him, that was who begot him, that's his offspring, making him his son. Just like that would make Yahusha his son. But let's look at something in John chapter 10 and about verse 30. Knowing that Adam was made as Elohim. This is why we're looking at this here. See, we know this. We understand this. That Adam was made as Elohim. He had dominion over all the rats, all the creatures, and everything on the planet, on the earth was subject to him. I mean, I didn't mean to say planet, because we know for us, planet's going to be a constellation. So everything on the earth was subject to him. Just like everything on the earth is subject to Elohim. So when we look at John 10 and 30, I and my Father are one. Then the Yahudim took up stones again to stone him. Yahushua answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Abba. For which of those works do ye stone me? The Yahudim answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, because that thou, being a man, make thyself Elohim. Adam certainly was a man, but he was made Elohim by Elohim himself. But let's see what the master says as he responds to them. And you can get Psalms 82 after I read verse 35. Yahushua answered them, is it not written in your Torah, said ye are gods? If he called them gods, unto whom the word of Elohim came, and the scripture cannot be broken. Now, we didn't talk about this before, but let's go back and look at Psalms 82 about verse 1. You know, this is what the 5%ers, or the nations of gods of the earth, use to say that, to use the Bible to back up when they say that they gods. So if you ever hear them do say, peace, God, what's the mathematics, God? You know, they say the black man is God, and they will use Psalms 82 and 6 to justify themselves when it comes to that. So Psalms 82 and 1. Psalms 82 and 1. Let me look at something real fast. Hold on. Now it says, Elohim stand in the congregation of the mighty, he judge among the gods. Now we're going to look at something real fast when we talk about judging among the gods. Just to show you something real fast. There's something that actually goes to something in the law. Now when he's talking about judging among the gods, what do y'all think that that's going to refer to?
God means Elohim, which means mighty ones, and they judging among the mighty ones, which is maybe us, evil mighty ones.
Absolutely. I want you to go look at, I think it's Exodus 22. Make sure it's Exodus 22.
And also, like, fall into, when talking about us judging the Malachim.
That's exactly why we finna look at Psalm 22. Absolutely, sir. I mean Exodus 22. I'm sorry, Exodus 22 and 28. That's absolutely. Both of y'all were correct on that, sir. Absolutely. So Exodus 22 and 28. It says, "Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people." So in this instance, when you look at gods in Psalms 82. And you look at gods in Exodus 22, this is referring to a mighty one, or one of the definitions of Elohim in this particular point is going to be a ruler. Now we know Yasharah means thou hast power with man, and thou shalt rule as Elohim. You know what I'm saying? So when we go back and let's look in Genesis chapter 2, this is how we can get the basis of seeing how Adam is an Elohim or a ruler. You know what I'm saying? And that you see that Elohim or Yahuwah himself is standing in the midst of the congregation or the body of Elohim and judging. You know what I'm saying? This is what Psalms 82 is stating. And then we have to go back and get the justification of that to actually see that, like what Will just mentioned and what Troy just mentioned when it comes to that. Genesis chapter 2. Well, Genesis 1 and 26 is better. It says, Elohim said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle, over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth. And Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. Now let's swing to Genesis chapter 2 and about verse 19. It says, and out of the ground Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all the cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him. So him being able to name all these creatures and all these things coming unto him, also according to Genesis chapter 1, shows that he had dominion over them, or that he was their ruler. Therefore, this would make him an Elohim. Let's come back to Psalms 82. Matter of fact, go get that 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And then after 1 Corinthians chapter 5, get Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. Remember now, the master said, ye are gods. After we get Revelation 7 and 9, and we'll just swing right back round to John chapter 1, verse 12, and Philippians 2 and 5. Because, you know, a lot of brothers have a little problem with this. Just bear with me, because we're trying to establish something. And we're just going to take our time to get there. But let's swing back to Psalms 82 and just read that one more time. It says, Elohim stand in the congregation of the mighty. He judge among the gods, right? So when he say the congregation of the mighty, that's the congregation of the strong. We know that Yahushua came to give us strength. That's why he say you can do all things through him that strengthen thee. Gives you power. You know, it says the kingdom of Elohim is not in meat and drink, but in power. And again, we see all when it comes to that as forth is mighty, which is God, God-like one or mighty one. Mighty men, men of rank, mighty heroes. Mighty things in nature or strength and power. So we would actually have to look before we even look in John chapter 1 verse 12 and Revelation 7, 9 about being a mighty man, a man of rank, or having strength or power. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at Philippians 4 and about 10. And then after that, Romans 5. I know I called for Romans 5 earlier, but we'll look at Romans 5 and 5 first before we go any further in Romans 5. But let's look at Philippians 4 and 10. So when he's talking about judging amongst the gods and the congregation of the body of the mighty, he's only talking about his Kadeshim. He ain't talking about everybody. This is not a reference that refers to the whole world. This is not talking to everybody. This is talking to a specific group of people. Because as Paul told us in Romans chapter 8, if you do not have the Ruach of the Mashiach, you are none of his. Therefore, what power would you possess? So when we look in Philippians 4 and 10. But I rejoice in the master greatly that now at least your care for me hath flourished again, wherein you were also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed to be both full and hungry, both to abound and suffer need. I can do all things through Mashiach, which strengthened me. Well, what is the strength that would come at? Well, we know in 2 Corinthians chapter 13, if I'm not, but chapter 12, he said, my strength is made perfect in weakness. When we turn around and we sit back and you look at it, that even though you in this flesh, because the master was in the flesh, you say his favor made him strong in weakness. Knowing that it says that the Ruach indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So and if, even in the midst of being in this flesh, there is some strength that can give you the ability to overcome it. So look at Romans chapter 5 and about verse 3 before we look at Philippians chapter 2 verse 5. See, you have to sit back and remember that you are made as Elohim in the flesh because you're made in his likeness and in his image. Then he has to go about for the process of placing his word inside of you if you believe it and obey it. Make it 5 and 1. If you believe it and obey it, therefore you can be literally conformed into the complete image of his son and the complete image of his likeness to walk as an Elohim and have that same power. He said, the works that my father do, I do likewise. And he said he would turn around and say that we would do greater works than him because that same strength and power that was in that dust that he was, being the son of Adam or the son of man or the son of mankind, that would also reflect in us. And all we just sitting back working to this to sit back and see the power of Elohim with Adam being a similitude of this man's death of dying and perishing for his wife. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have shalom with Elohim through our master, Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into his favor, wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the esteem of Elohim. And not only so, but we esteem in tribulations also know that tribulations work patience. and patience experience, and experience hope. And hope make not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Ruach HaKodesh, which is given unto us. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. So, we pause. Now we look at Eve, and y'all willing, we will do that, and we will look at 1 Corinthians chapter 5 in just a moment. Eve was without strength. Therefore, this man had to come and die for the ungodly. Because to be with, what is strength? Well, let's look at Isaiah 26:3 real fast, and let's just see what strength is. Isaiah 26:3. Let's just look, and then we'll come right back to Romans chapter 5. Let's just see what strength is. This is what would make you a mighty one or a ruler. Let's see what it is. Make it 2. Matter of fact, let's look at verse 1. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm going to deal with this in another time in a particular fashion. And that day this song be sung in the land of Yehuda. We have a strong city, so there goes strength. What would cause you to have a strong city? We kind of touched about this on last Shabbat. Temperance or self-control. Because he said a man who can't rule his ruach is like a city without walls. What protects a city but the walls, the bars, and the gates? You know what I'm saying? Daniel chapter 9 tell you that the wall will be rebuilt in troublous time. And that wall is the master. You know what I'm saying? So you look at having a strong city or a strong protection around your house or around your body. That's when your faith come in at. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates that the righteous nation which keep the truth may enter in. Thou will keep him in perfect shalom, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts in thee. Trust ye in Yahuwah forever, for in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. This is why Paul saying whatever state I'm in, Mashiach will strengthen me. Because even in this weakness, why he say my favor is made perfect in weakness. Because when you're in a low and you're in a weak state, this is when your faith is established. So why he say your trial of your faith, which is more precious than gold. And in the trial of that faith is where your temperance or your self-control will be manifested at. And we looked at it in the character-wise of what it means to have self-control. And what that is manifesting and teaching you, which is bringing you into the bond of the covenant, which is going to be pointing you back to the Ruach, which are where your strength would emanate from. And when he tell you the Ruach is willing and the flesh is weak, is because the strength is in the Ruach. Do you know what I'm saying? And we turn around and we look at both of them, whether it be Adam or whether it be Eve, and we knowing that he said male and female created he them. So when he looked at his wife didn't have that strength because they didn't have the Ruach. They didn't have that faith, so therefore that's why she was without strength. Therefore this man had to die for her. She didn't possess that. He had to come in and bridge that gap. So for a man to sit back and say that Adam was a selfish man and a foolish man is very, very unlearned statement. And may Yahuwah forgive him for the thought and intent of his heart, because he knows not what he speaks. Because if he did, he wouldn't even say it. To be quite frank, he wouldn't even say it. Come on back to Romans chapter 5. Because regardless if he knows it or not, he just said that about Mashiach. And people be like, oh, I didn't say that about him. But he is the second Adam. Therefore, the testimony of Adam is the testimony of him. So if you said that about Adam, you said that about him. Which means in essence, you just blasphemed. May have not been an intentional blaspheming, but that's what happens when you look at things from a carnal aspect. That's what you will do. Verse 7 yet again. Well, verse 6 of Romans chapter 5 before we look at Philippians 2 and 5. Y'all bear with me. I hope it makes sense so far. I ain't even got to the crux of the matter. It's just building up to the crescendo. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Mashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die. Yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim committed his love towards us, that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach died for us. Now when we sit back and we going to look at it, we're going to see that Eve was yet a sinner and he died for her. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the bottom line. Because somebody going to have to go in the law and show where Adam sinned that. Adam's sin was going ahead and partaking. But then we're going to see how that's going to be the Mashiach again. It's very simple. I mean, it ain't even that difficult. And it was crazy because he called himself correcting me on what I was showing someone else. And that person seen it. Even explained it to somebody when we were in the gym on Monday who don't even deal with the book like that. And he's seen it. It's not even that hard. This ain't even a complex topic. Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. And then John chapter 1, verse 12. Philippians 2 and 5. Let this mind be in you, which was all, and we hold in John chapter 10 too, which was also in Yahushua HaMashiach, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. Now, of course, Adam did not die on the stake, but he humbled himself. And we're going to say, Adam did not have to partake in this fruit with this woman. He could have easily said, you're dying by yourself. He could have easily done that and let her die and got him another wife. That's what he could have did now. He could have went and got him another wife. He could have easily said, you have transgressed what I told you to do. I shall wait and see what the mind of Yahuwah shall do with you. Y'all had to understand that and know that. He could have easily done that. See, the thing that killed me too, and we're going to look at it too, we done looked at it before, but we're going to make it clear. When people sit back and they say, oh, they want to point at Eve, where was Adam to protect her? Why would Adam have to protect her when she told the serpent word for word what Adam told her? Why did he need to be standing right there telling her, don't do this now, baby. You know what I told you. She would let it be known I know I ain't supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. You going to blame Adam for that? No, you can't blame Adam for that. You're going to have to take personal responsibility for your action. You know what I'm saying? And even in the midst of you doing something that brought death on, he said, you know what? I'll die with you. I won't let you die alone. Which is John chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love have no man than this, that a man die, lay his life down for his friends. And we're going to back that up in Malachi chapter 2 before we depart from here this evening. But let's look at John chapter 1, verse 12. Thank y'all for the word. John chapter 1, verse 12. And that also goes to show that if you was to marry a woman, you would really, literally, is it really in your mind to die for this woman? You know what I'm saying? To really do it. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, if it's in your mind, is she the right woman to die for? I'm going to tell you like this here, right? Just because it popped up in my memories the other day. And I know this for a fact. You know what I'm saying? And I done said it to y'all before. Most women out here don't want no righteous man. And most men out here don't want no virtuous woman. Not for real. Because most are threatened by the aspect of being with a woman that holds that type of standard, and vice versa with the woman with that man. Because if they not a righteous man, or she's not a virtuous woman, and they don't have the desire to elevate themselves to that point, then they not in actuality, they don't really want that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's an equality with a righteous woman and a righteous man, and that is that they are mentally strong people and spiritually strong people. And if a person is not a righteous man and a woman is not a virtuous woman, then 99.9% of the time, if that's not what they desire to be, they are mentally weak and spiritually weak people. And therefore, they will take the prospect of being with someone that is righteous and virtuous as a very intimidating thing, and will 99.9% decline from that challenge. Instead of rising to meet that, they will just decline from it. Because in reality, that ain't what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like I said it then 3 years ago, and I say it now. You hear a lot of women say, I want a good man. I want a real man. But how many of them do you actually say, I want a righteous man of the living Elohim? You have them say, I want me a virtuous woman. But a lot of them really don't. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you something what a virtuous woman is going to do. She's going to challenge you to be a man. If she knows how to do it, she's going to do it with grace. You know what I'm saying? She's going to do it with some manner of skill to do that there. Because if you a real man, a virtuous woman will submit to you with ease. You know what I'm saying? She has no problem doing it. And I just know that being in the world. It doesn't matter word or no word. A woman, most women will submit to a man if you give her something to submit to. If you don't give her something to submit to, she will not submit to you. Not no real woman, she's not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? A scallywag will. A foot dragger will. Because they'll care less. You know what I'm saying? But a real woman will not submit to anything less than a real man. She will not do it. Do you know what I'm saying? She will absolutely not do it. You know what I'm saying? A real man is not going, a righteous man, he ain't going to direct no wicked woman. Not for long. You know what I'm saying? He gonna tire of the frustration of fighting with her, and he's going to cast her away. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm good, I'm straight. I'm not dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with this. I refuse to deal with this. If she's a virtuous woman, that man will go all out for her. And there was nothing that would be restrained for her. He'll give her whatever she desires. You know what I'm saying? But he just ain't going to do that for anybody. I'm just telling this speaking from experience. For me. From what I done seen. You know what I'm saying? I done seen that, boy. You ain't no real man. You dealing with a real woman. She's not going to submit to you. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to do it. She's going to buck on every corner till you give her something to submit to. And if you don't, she'll move on. Do you know what I'm saying? A virtuous, by a righteous man, like that book say, don't mess with, say it better dwell on the house, on the top of a house than with an argues, contentious woman and all that stuff. Just like the book say, a beautiful woman without discretion is like a pig with a jewel in its snout. You don't fool with that too long. Say she beautiful, she fine. She ain't got no wisdom, no kumph, no nothing. You gonna get rid of her. She ain't worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? Telling the other day, boy, I was telling Will this here the other day, but I don't have to pay. You talking about pull somebody out of the world and teach them the word? Talking about make them your old lady? Man, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. She would already have to have a framework of what the word is about to even take that challenge on. You talking about pulling somebody from the world and showing them this right here? This is a culture shock. That's a culture shock for a woman out the world. I can't wear pants. I can't wear makeup. I can't wear jewelry. No weed. I can't do drink. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, she's straight. She might hold on for a little bit because she like you. But after a while, when it get tighter and tighter, she's going to dip. I'm good on that. Same flip side with a woman and a man. Going to pull you a sin out the world and tell her, oh yeah, baby, we can't do this and we can't do that. He going to abide for a little while. He going to try to stick around to get what he want. Once he got what he want, he don't care nothing about this here, man. This ain't what everybody want to do, irregardless of what people say out their mouth. I don't know why y'all believe that everybody want to do this. I don't know why you believe everybody going to believe this. The book tell you that. Just because we know we Yasharal means nothing. That means nothing. Absolutely nothing. That will not cause nobody to believe, and it's definitely not going to cause them to obey. That's just a real men. But what's going to hold them and keep them? There has to be a desire within inside of you that this is what you want to do and that you will do it with every ounce of your mind, body, and soul. And that right there does not encapsulate the entirety of our population of people who are called so-called Negro, no matter where they dwell. Because everybody's not willing to do what's necessary to become great. And you know what's necessary to become great? Hard work and dedication and consistency and discipline. And that is attributes that everyone does not possess nor does seek to possess. That's what separates the sheep from the goats and the men from the mice and the pit from the poodles right there. That's what called the separation right there. Who really got the desire for hard work and discipline and commitment? Dedication. Consistent application. That doesn't encapsulate everybody. You have to stop living in a fantasy world. The thing, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. Paul said, my hope is that all Yasharal be saved. I feel the same way he feel. But then reality sets in. I know that they won't. Not because I'm a cynicist or pessimistic or don't want them to get it. It's just, I just know the reality of it. That's just not reality. It's just not reality. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Very much is. Where we at? John chapter 1 verse 12. What's wrong, Pops? Come on. Put your shirt on. Don't come over here, twin. Twin, go back that way. Go. Go back that way. You got no shirt on, boy. Yeah, nobody want to see your little pectorals, man. Yeah, nobody wants to see your little pectorals. Get your binky, man. Get your binky. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim. So when you turn around and you look at that Yahushua is giving you the power to become sons of Elohim, and that the son of Elohim in the law was given dominion over the whole earth, that means Yahushua would be giving you the same dominion as well. Because Adam was given this power. He's the second Adam, and therefore he is bestowing this power on you. Even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of Elohim. That's the same thing with Adam. Adam was not born of blood, nor the will of any flesh, nor the will of any man. That was all Elohim's desire and will that produced him. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 5. It's the same token that it's the will of Elohim that will produce you to become a son. Because he said, I have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I have compassion on whom I have compassion. Because a lot of sick people look at, well, how can you say this person cut off and this person ain't cut off? All you can do is talk to Yahuwah. Who will have mercy on who you want to have mercy on. We don't have no say in that. Why did he spare David and not Saul? Because that was Yahuwah's prerogative. Who am I to speak against it? Straight up. Who am I to speak against it? Yahuwah is righteous, and all his works are done in righteousness. He said, you say my ways are not equal. He said, your ways are unequal. He said, I will judge every one of you according to your ways. He said, I search the reins and try the heart to give every man according to his works. He already know the hearts of men. That man do what he want to do. People problem is they want to try to tell this man how he going to operate and what he should do. You ought to go to hell for that. You can tell this man what he going to do and how he going to do it. Nigga, who is you? You dust. You going to tell your maker what he going to do? Well, you wild. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, man. About verse 3. My bad, it's chapter 6. Dare any of you have a matter against another, to go to law before the unjust and not before the Kadeshim? Do you not know that the Kadeshim shall judge the world, and if the world shall be judged by you, are you unworthy to judge the smallest matters? Well, that would mean you would be a ruler. You would be a ruler. If you judge in the world, who else judge the world but rulers? Know ye not that we shall judge Malakim? How much more the things that pertain to this life? If then you have judgments of things pertaining to this life, set them to judge who are least esteemed in the body. This is why Psalm 82:1 say Elohim come to judge among the mighty ones in the body of the gods. Or the rulers. Or his people. Let's look at Revelation chapter 7 verse 9, where you can see him standing and judging amongst the gods. Revelation 7 and 9. Revelation 7 9. I got to crank it up a notch. To get to the root of the matter. Revelation 7 and 9. And after this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Elohim, which sit upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And the Malachim stood around about the throne, and about the elders and four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worship Elohim, saying, Amen. Baruch and esteem and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? Whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou know. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim and serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sit on the throne shall dwell among them. And they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them nor any heat, for the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and Elohim shall wipe all tears from their eyes. If he's sitting back and they have washed their robes and the blood of the Lamb. He has judged them to be upright and righteous. Therefore, he is judged in the congregation of the mighty. This is what he's done. Let's come back to Psalms 82. We crank this up. That's Yahushua standing right there judging. Right there in the congregation of the gods. Right there amongst the mighty. He's standing right there judging. This ain't talking about him standing in the congregation of sinners. What would he stand in there? How would a sinner be mighty? What might is in them? They're in the flesh. The flesh is weak. Look at verse 2, right? How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy and rid them out of the hand of the wicked. That's what he did for the master. He rid him out of the hand of death. He stood up and he did justice for the afflicted and needy. And for the poor and the fatherless. Because when the father turned his back on him, Yahushua's father says Elohim had forsaken him. He was poor, he had been humble. He said he humbled himself under death. They know not, neither will they understand. It's like he said, they saw the light, but the darkness comprehended it not. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of their rats are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are sons of the Most High. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. We turn around and sit back and see, we've already seen in Genesis that Adam was God, and he died like a man. Now let's look at something the Master said in John chapter 8, verse 58. We'll look at 54 though, before we go back to John chapter 10. See, these people want to stone him. This man, so he was God, but he died like a man though. Eight and 54. Yahushua answered, if I honor myself, my honor is nothing. It's my Father that honor me, of whom you say that he is your Elohim. Yet you have not known him, but I know him. And if I should say I know him not, I should be a liar like unto you. But I know him, and I keep his saying. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. Then said the Yahudim unto him, thou art not yet 50 years old, and thou hast seen Abraham? Yahushua said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am. He just told these people that he was God. But yet we know from Matthew chapter 20 and Matthew 16 and John chapter 13 and Matthew 26, this man died like a man. We can sit back and look at him having control and dominion over the wind, over the water, raising the dead, forgiving sins. Who else has that power but Elohim? He said, I said ye are gods and sons of the Most High. Let's look at John 10 and 36 and see what he said after this. When he said that the scripture cannot be broken. So the scripture cannot be broken when it is Elohim's desire to make you a God, to make you a ruler, to make you a mighty one through his son. That's his will. The law done stated it. He's not going back on that. I always say you can't curse the rulers. So that's sitting back. This is where you turn around and look at it. No matter how angry you might get. See, even when Paul said, that's why the book say in Hebrews 13 to obey them that have rule over you. You know what I'm saying? That's why Paul wrote in 1 Timothy about giving double honor to the elders and those who rule well in the word and labor in word and doctrine. Because that's going back to the law. Because when Paul had went off, when they smacked him, and he said, you witted sepulchre, this, that, then, and the third, he said, thou revilest the high priest? He said, I didn't know. He said, thou shalt not revile the ruler of thy people. Because he understood the law. See, we sit back and we look at that as those who Yah has set up to rule over the people. We ain't supposed to go off on them. You ain't supposed to speak ill of them. Because then we would be in violation of the law because he set them up. He tell you don't revile the gods. And this actuality, that's rulers or judges, those that he done set up. Going back to what we were talking about in that socialistic theocracy. That's what his desire. That's why you see David, he never said nothing against Saul. Never laid his hand on him. Never did any of that. I seen a brother post about it. When those men came back and told him Saul was dead, they thought they were bringing David good news. He murdered them. When I murdered them, he killed them. He executed them. Because they had laid hands on the ruler of Yah's people. This is why he called David a man after his own heart, for him understanding the Torah. No matter what this man is doing, I put him there. Don't go off on him. Don't say this, don't say that, don't do that. Let me handle him. I'll take care of him. You know what I'm saying? That's how he looked at it. This is how he understood this. He knew this. So we have to understand that precept itself. You don't see the master going off on the high priest. You see him going off on the scribes and the Pharisees, but the high priest was the ruler of the people. You don't see him going off on captains. You don't see him doing that in their time. Because of him knowing the law. I'm not going to do that. Even though I'm above him. But at this point in time, in the state that I'm in, I'm under him. Therefore, I will give him that respect. Even when they slapped him, he said, if I did evil, speak of the evil. But if not, why smite thou me? What you hit me for? Give me the justification for that. But he never went off on it. Scribes and Pharisees were fair game, though. You're not the rulers of the people. You're just fake priests and hypocrites. Totally different scenario. John 10:36. Say ye of him whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blaspheme, because I said I am the son of Elohim? If I do not the works of my Father, believe me not. But if I do, though you believe not me, believe the works, that ye may know and believe that the Father is in me, and I in him. Therefore they sought again to take him, but he escaped out of their hand, and went away again beyond Jordan to the place where Yochanan at first immersed, and there he abode. And many resorted unto him and said, Yochanan did no miracle, but all things that Yochanan spake of this man were true, and many believed on him there. So you know what they sat back and looked at? They looked at John was bearing witness of the testimony of this man, and they seen this man do everything John said, so they knew he is who he said he was. He said, if you don't believe me because I said it, believe me because of what I'm doing. And you got to remember, John was a Levite, so when he was speaking to this man, you better know he went in the book and showed them stuff that this man was going to come do. This don't think he just was out there talking. He just wasn't out there just talking. That's not how we operate. But he said, you said that I blaspheme because I said I'm the son of Elohim? Well, Yahushua has the right to say he's the son of Elohim because Adam is the son of Elohim. We will look at that in Bereshit chapter 5, verse 1 yet again. And then we'll delve right into the matter at hand and then depart. Because the matter at hand ain't even that long to look at. Ain't going to take but a minute or two. Genesis 5:1. This is the book of the generations of Adam. And the day that Elohim created man. And the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female created he them and baruched them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. And I swing to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 20. So he called man Adam. He said he made he them and he made in the image of Elohim, which means he was Elohim. Because if he's in the image or the likeness, he is as Elohim. Remember that it said in Romans chapter 8 to be conformed into the image of his son, which would make us as Elohim. And we should not be thinking that we're taking anything away from Elohim by making ourselves equal with him, because that is his desire, for us to have his rule, his power, his authority, his ruach, no sin, all things that encapsulate, that make Yahuwah eternal life. Everything, his goodness, his truth, his mercy, his forgiveness, all the things that make Yahuwah. He said, I want you to have that. I want you to be equal with me. What other Elohim can say that? Allah don't want you equal to him. What Buddha trying to have somebody equal to him at? Matter of fact, before you read Genesis 2 and 20, look at John chapter 6 and verse 40. I'm sorry, Luke 6 and 40. My apologies. Man, say the servant is not above his master. I mean, he wants you to be like him. That's why he keep telling you, let this mind be in you. Let this mind be in you. Let this mind be in you. The same mind that was in Mashiach. That's why the book repeatedly tells you that. He wants you to have that same mind. He wants you to be like him. The disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. Everyone that is complete will be like Elohim. If Yahuwah is your master and your ruler, and that is whom you serve, then you should be like him. He said everyone that's complete will be like him. So that means Adam was complete and he was like him. Now let's go look at Genesis chapter 2 and verse 20. Remember it say when we were yet without strength, Mashiach died for the ungodly. That's what the book say. So let's look at something in Genesis 2 and 20. Well, 21 I should say. And Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept and took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahuwah Elohim had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh, and she shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. Let's look at something in Malachi 2 and 14, though. He said they were both naked. They were not ashamed. They ain't had no sin on them. He said, man, a man will cleave to his wife, she'll be one, they'll be one flesh. He said, that's bone of my bones right there. This is my companion. Malachi 2 and 14. Malachi 2 and 14. Malachi 2 and 14. Yet ye say, wherefore, because you have been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously, yet is she is thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. Now let's sit back and look at companion here. He said, your wife is your companion. When we look at companion, I would pronounce it wrong in the Hebrew. I think it's kavareth. And that is your companion, your wife, or your consort. This means it's your friend, it's your rider. A consort is truly a friend. It's somebody you deal with. Verse 15, and did he not make one? Yet he had the residue of the Ruach. Wherefore one, that he might seek a godly seed. Therefore take heed to your Ruach, and let none deal treacherously against the wife of his youth. For Yahuwah the Elohim of Yasharal say that he hate putting away. For one cover violence with his garment, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Therefore take heed to your Ruach, that you deal not treacherously. Now he said he made him one. And he said, this is the wife or the companion of your youth, and that you should not deal treacherously with her. And when we look at dealing treacherously, that's to act treacherously, but God, that's to act treacherously, deceitfully, or deal treacherously, or faithlessly, or deceitfully, or offend. He told you you shouldn't offend your wife, you shouldn't deal treacherously with her, you shouldn't be lying to her, you should be faithful to her. He said, this is your companion, the wife of your youth. When we already look at wife of your youth, you already know what that's taking you back to. Look at something in Proverbs chapter 5. Because we sit back and look at the days of your youth, that's going all the way back to Adam every time. But look at something in Proverbs chapter 5. So you don't need to be, he said you need to be faithful to your consort or to your friend. That's what you're supposed to look at your wife. Your wife supposed to be your friend. And you're supposed to be faithful to her, not treacherous with her. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 5. Look at about verse 17. Make it about 15. It says, drink waters out of thy own cistern, and running waters out of thy own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. This is something totally different. And most high willing, I'm going to deal with that when we talk about Songs of Solomon. I'm really just setting this up. This is going to touch some of that stuff we're going to go over in Songs of Solomon. Because when we come in there, y'all willing on the Shabbat, we're not going to sit down and go over Songs of Solomon like we usually do. I'm going to actually preach up out of it, so he won't even be no need for it. We actually going to go over the entire chapter. Let them be thine only, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be Baruch, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. And let her be as a loving hind in a pleasant roe. Yes, you are. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. Now let's turn around and let's look at something, right? He said you need to rejoice with the wife of your youth, and you need to be ravished with her love, and let her breast satisfy thee and all that. See, that's what them dudes come in and say, boy, Solomon, he was a freak. That's what they sit back and look at. And this is literally talking about, it said, apparently from the same as breast or seat of love. So we look at this word as dod, and it's breast, nipple, or teat. But in this accent, it's talking about the seat of love, or let her love satisfy you always. Even though we sit back and look at you seeing this talking about a literal breast. You know what I'm saying? But in actuality, he's just using a euphemism when it comes to this breast. Do you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to turn around and sit back and see, how could Yasharal, how could Eve's wife satisfy her husband in love? That seed of love. How is this possible? Because he said you should cleave to your wife and you should be one flesh with her. You know what I'm saying? He said don't deal treacherous with your wife, be faithful to her. Now it just said in Romans 5 that while we were yet without strength, Mashiach died for the ungodly. He didn't deal treacherously with his wife. He died for her. He could have said screw her and got him another. Look at Romans chapter 11 and verse 1. See, that's what a lot of dudes like to do. They don't like what they woman doing. I get rid of her, get me a new wife. That's how you know the love of Elohim is not in them. That's why he say search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they will testify me, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. Because if you had the love of Elohim in you, you wouldn't cast away the wife of your youth to go get another one. He didn't do it. He decided that I will perish with my wife. I ain't talking about you like her and you want to marry her. I'm talking about you're already married to her. I ain't talking about somebody that's not your wife. I say then, if Elohim cast away his people, Elohim forbid. For I also am of Yasharal, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Ben Yabin. Elohim have not cast away his people, which he foreknew. What the scriptures say of Elijah, how he made intercession to Elohim against Yasharal, saying he already knew Eve. He said he made a male and female. So he had not cast away his people, which therefore he wasn't going to cast away his wife. He was going to devise a means to bring his wife back to him. Let's come back and look at Genesis chapter 3 and let's look at what Eve did here. Genesis 3 and 1. Let's sit back and look at what Eve did here. Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, have Elohim said, ye shall not eat of the tree, every tree of the garden? Now he asked her a question. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, you shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. Now what could Adam did about that? Now what could Adam did about that? This woman said, Elohim has said. So that means Adam told her. She knew. She let that be known. I know full well what I'm not supposed to do. Now how you going to blame Adam for that? Why are you going to blame Adam for that? So you know what that means right there, little mom? How you going to blame Yah when you done heard the word, ain't it? It was better for you not to even known it then. Than to know it and turn away from it. You can't blame the man when you know. That means you chose death on your own. And you knew you were choosing it. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For Elohim doth know in that day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. See, you have to sit back and remember that. The rulers know good and evil, right? That's why he say, look at Hebrews chapter 5, out verse 12. Hebrews 5 and 12. He say you'll be as gods, knowing good and evil. Knowing to sit back here, you talking about rulers, right? So he said you would be able to know how to rule. You would know right from wrong. See, they didn't know no evil. Hebrews 5 and 12. For when the time that you ought be teachers, you have need that one teach you again the first principles of the oracles of Elohim, as because in some as need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that use milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. And we done dealt with that before. They were babies. But strong meat belong to them that are of full age, even to those by reason of youth have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So when Yahuwah set up men to rule, they're as gods or rulers because they know good and evil, because they know the word. They can discern. They can use the word to show you this is right and this is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And this is what he set up judges, and this is what he set up rulers and kings and priests and prophets and apostles and pastors and teachers and all these things to be rulers or to show you good and evil. You know what I'm telling you? He said, how can I know the word except there be a man that guide me? Now come on back to Genesis chapter 3. This is what he's sitting here telling this woman, that she was going to become a ruler. She fell for it. Genesis 3, right? About verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that was pleasant to the eye, and the tree desired to make one wise, she took the fruit of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So she died first, right? And then he died after her.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
I hear you. 1 Timothy 5 and 6. Hey. Don't do that. It's not nice. It's not nice at all. 1 Timothy 5 and 6. And after that, 1 Timothy chapter 2. Well, 1 Timothy 5 and 1. It say, rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren. The elder women as mothers, and the youngest as sisters with all purity. So when he's telling you an elder, that's not only referring to somebody older, but a pastor in this aspect. He tells you it's not your job to come to correct them, but you're supposed to come at them as you would your own father. And he say that the younger men, you're supposed to treat them as your own brother. Hold on, y'all. Let me just start it over. Ain't nothing happened. Hold on.
Welcome, Mr. There are 3 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
All right, y'all can hear me now? I heard y'all, but obviously you didn't hear me, though. You hear me now, though? It says, and the elder women as mothers, and the youngest as sisters with all purity. Honor widows that are widows indeed. But if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home and to requite their parents. For that is good and acceptable for Elohim. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate, trust in Elohim and continue in supplication and prayers day and night. But she that live in pleasure is dead while she live. See, when you sit back and you look at it, Yasharal wanted to live in pleasure. All you got to do is looking back at Exodus 32, right? They said they ate, drank, and they rose up to play. They were always looking for pleasure. We got cucumbers and melons. We hungry. We want this, we want that. It's that pleasure. Yasharal was living in pleasure, therefore we were dead even though we were alive. Look at Revelation 3 and 1 for that. Go sit down. Stop, Egbert. Go. Go. Revelation 3 and 1. And to the Malachim of the synagogue in Sardis write, these sayings saith he that hath the 7 ruachs of Elohim and the 7 stars. I know thy works, and thou hast a name that thou live and art dead. Eve had a name. Her name means mother of all living. Yet she was dead because she lived in her pleasure. Therefore, something had to be done to bring about the spur life in her, which means somebody had to die to give her life. Like Isaiah 28 say, I will disannul your covenant with death. Come on back to what we just said. 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy 2 and 14. Make it 1 Timothy 2 and 13. Matter of fact, 2 and 12. 2 and 11. Y'all hear me though?
Lizzie, stop pushing.
First Timothy 2 and 11. Let the woman learn in silence and in all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over a man, but to be in silence. See, Satan was offering her the opportunity to teach because he said, you'll be a ruler. You'll know good and evil. Well, the ones that manifest good and evil were the teachers, like we heard in Hebrews chapter 5. She sought after that. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. So he made Adam and then he made Eve. Remember, her name means mother of all living. She had a name, but yet she was dead. She was living, but yet she was dead because she lived in pleasure. So she was dead while she lived. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Hello? Hello? Okay, I'll just make sure that you can hear me. So he said that the woman was deceived and in the sin, right? Well, let's look at Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 12 and let's see what deceived. And then Hosea 10 and 9. And I'm just hitting Hosea 10 and 9 because that's a setup for something else. That Most High will be hit on the Shabbat. That's a setup for something else. Hebrews 3 and 12. Take heed, brethren, lest there be any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living Elohim. But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. So what was the thing? What deceived her? What caused her to be deceived? It was sin. And what was the sin? He told you not to eat of this. You did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Did Adam do that? No. Who lied to Adam? No one. What did he transgress? Why do you think Paul is making this step? Adam was not deceived, but the woman was in the transgression. Adam did not sin. You understand what I'm telling you? He did not transgress. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 18. What he ended up doing was becoming a partaker of the transgression. Therefore becoming sin with her. Therefore taking on sin with her. Just like somebody you know. 1 Peter 3 and 18. For Mashiach also have once suffered for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us into Elohim, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened in the Ruach. So in this situation between Eve and Adam, which one was the just one, which one was the unjust one? Just meaning upright or blameless, right? If Adam don't eat with her, would he been unjust? He wouldn't have been unjust if he said, you know what? He told me not to do that. I ain't doing it. She did that, which made her unjust. Therefore, he had to die for the unjust. That's why John 15 and 13, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. And we sit back and we look at Malachi chapter 2, that she's the wife of thy youth and thy companion. She's your consort. She's your friend. He say, don't deal treacherously with her. Be faithful. Die for her. Hello? Die for her. Hello?
Isaiah, come here.
So let's swing back around to
What are you doing?
John 3 and 16.
Come here.
That's why he say, while you were yet without strength, he died for the ungodly. What strength did Eve have? She didn't have no faith. She went against the word. He said, I would that you wouldn't have partakers with devils. You wouldn't follow the new God, gods who newly came up.
Okay.
John 3 and 16. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that through the world, through him, might be saved. So seeing that Adam is dying for Eve, it's a similitude of this man sending his only son to die for the world, or to die for his wife, to die for Yasharal, that through his death we might get life. So even though you sit back, you saying that him dying brings death to all men, to show you how Mashiach would come back later, and that through his death men would get life, because that was the objective. Now let's look at Romans 5 and 12. I don't see you talking about that's not a sacrifice. That is a sacrifice, considering that he became sin with her, because she had a transgression on her, right? And we're going to see that in 1 Corinthians 5. Mankind, or Adam, or Yahusha became sin. He had to condemn sinful flesh in the flesh. So you got to see Adam dying to do the same thing the master did. 5 and 12. Say, wherefore as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed unto all men, for all have sinned. Why do we say that? Because he called their name Adam. The woman was in the transgression. The woman came out of the man. Therefore, he partaken with her, because he is one flesh with her. Therefore, I will die with her. Because this is how much I loved her. Because the master is going to come back and manifest this same love. That's why you should reciprocate it back. I mentioned Hosea 10 and 9, but it said all Yasharal have sinned in Gabah. And then we're going to read it in a minute, because I do got to set this up. For until the Torah sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed where there is no Torah. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. So Adam is the figure of him that was to come, showing that he had to become sin because his wife sinned, to die for his wife, to take sin away, like this man came to do. Look at Hosea 10 and 9. We got to wrap it up. Sit down, please. So look at Hosea 10 and 9. O Yasharal, thou hast sinned from the days of Gabah. There they stood. The battle of Gabah against the children of iniquity did not overtake them. We'll look at that, the sin in Gabah and the battle. You know what I'm saying? Look at that Friday. But he said, you've been sinning since that day. So you've been sinning from the beginning, deceived by it. Therefore sin slew thee. That's what Paul told you in Romans 7. Sin slew me. It deceived me. Sin slew Eve. It deceived her. Therefore this man had to die for you. Because Adam was not deceived by sin. He was a voluntary partaker of the death. He said, for this cause was I born, and for this cause I came into the earth. He said, and the Son of Man began to tell them the things that he must suffer of the chief priests and scribes, and how he must be killed and raised the third day. He said, I didn't come unto to be ministered unto. I came unto minister to offer my life a ransom for many. This man was not, the serpent did not beguile and deceive this man with no sin. The woman did. The woman stated clearly, I know what the Torah is, I know what the instruction is, and I went against it. Adam did not do that. When she died, he perished with her. He perished with her. He knowingly and willingly offered his life. That's what he did. That's what the master did. So when he partook of that fruit, 1 Corinthians chapter 5. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, my part. No, it is 1 Corinthians chapter. No, it's 2 Corinthians 5. I'm sorry. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 20. Lizzie, it ain't that serious. 2 Corinthians 5 and 20. 2 Corinthians 5 and 20. 2 Corinthians 5 and 20. Now we beseech, now then we are ambassadors for Mashiach, as though Elohim did beseech you by us. We pray you, in Mashiach's stead, be ye reconciled to Elohim. For he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him. Adam didn't know no sin. Paul was clear on that. Say the woman was deceived and she was in the transgression, not Adam. That's what the book said. That's not my opinion. He took that sin on. He took that sin on. The master didn't know no sin. Romans 8 and 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Yahushua HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. For the Torah, the Ruach of life in Mashiach Yahushua, have made me free from the Torah of sin and death. For what the Torah could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Elohim sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. Stop. It's not nice. That the righteousness of the Torah might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Ruach. When Eve sat back and said that this was pleasurable to the eyes to make one wise, she was walking after the flesh and not after the Ruach. She had stated clearly what the Ruach had stated, but yet she walked after the flesh instead. So Adam, who was made in the same likeness that she was, went ahead and died in the flesh to condemn that sinful flesh in the flesh like the master did. To manifest the love of Elohim towards the children of Yasharal forever. This is the testimony that's in it. And I don't see how brothers could not see that or overlook that, much less call Adam a foolish and selfish man. Because now you just called Mashiach a foolish and selfish man. When all Mashiach was doing was walking out what Adam did. Because he told you the end from the beginning. He showed you what Yahushua was going to do through Adam. And those short little verses, all that is contained into that. Of the mercy, love, and sacrifice of Elohim. That while you were yet in your sins, Elohim died for you and quickened you in your trespass. Because while you was yet in your sins, Eve or Yasharal, just like he told you in Ephesians chapter 2, Adam, mankind died for you. Because it said Mashiach redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. Because cursed be he that hangeth from a tree. Well, how else is Mashiach going to come redeeming from the curse of the law unless he become a curse with us? He had to partake in that fruit with her. Unless he don't become a curse of the law, therefore he can't remove it. Adam had to become what Eve became so the master could come and remove it from us. Isaiah 28 and 12. 28 and 14 actually. How else is he going to do it? That was a willful sacrifice on his part to save his wife. To show you how the master would come back later and save his wife. Wherefore, hear the word of Yahuwah, ye scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem, because you have said we made a covenant with death, and with hell we are at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we made lie to our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. The same way they made aprons to cover themselves, to hide under the lies, or hide under their sin, which deceived them and slew them. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believes shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. Hell shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and water shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. He has to disannul your covenant with death. Hebrews 2 and 5. And Carla, stop it right there. Hebrews 2 and 5. Went a little longer than I would have desired. Hebrews 2 and 5. For unto the Malachim have ye not put in subjection the world to come, wherefore we speak. But in one certain place testify, saying, what is man that thou art mindful of him, or the son of man that thou visit him? Thou made him a little lord in the Malachim, thou crowned him with esteem and honor, and did set him over the work of thy hand, just like he did with Adam. Thou put all things in subjection under his feet, for in that he put in all in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him, but now we see not yet all things put under him. But we see Yahushua, who was made a little lord in the Malachim for the suffering of death, crowned with honor and esteem, that he by the favor of Elohim should taste death for every man. And that's the same thing Adam did, because Yahushua had to fulfill it, because the whole book is about him. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We stop it right there.